In this video, we're going to be covering step 7, how to reach out to potential clients or prospects without sounding like a complete loser. As always, I'll go ahead and share my screen. If you want access to this document, it is completely free. I don't need your name. I don't need your phone number. I don't need your email. I don't need you to sacrifice your firstborn child. Completely free, completely painless. Check the pin post on my Facebook page at Alec J. Roy. Now, the goal of this training is very simple. We need to understand how to engage with prospects in a way that leads to more sales without ruining your reputation or sending corny messages. Now, this is a very simple training. It's more in depth because I need you to understand how to do it the right way. For me, it's very simple if you follow what I'm explaining, okay? If you get hung up on the delivery mechanism and you lose sight of the intention behind it, you will mess it up, okay? Now, in this training, you're going to learn important sales strategies to turn people you contact into customers. I'll show you common mistakes to avoid when you're sending DMs that can essentially hurt your results. Plus, I'm going to share a proven way to make people interested in your services, again, without tricky or uncomfortable tactics. So a lot of salespeople, they're like, well, we need to emotionally manipulate and we got to do this and we got to do that. And here's how to prime them and disarm. Calm down, bucko. This is very, very simple when you do it with good intentions the right way. To put it simply, I'm going to teach you how to successfully get clients instead of just doing outreach for the sake of saying you did your outreach. I'm going to give you exact scripts for reaching out to people cold, and this is the exact approach I use to convince a local business owner as a lawn care client with no website to schedule a discovery call after just 5 messages, and I actually close that individual over DMs just by sending the Stripe link. I'm also going to explain my technique for winning back leads who may have lost interest. This is the same technique that helped me hit $21,104.10 in 6 months while working less than 2 hours a day. So 6 months is not really fast. We just got a student of mine to 8,700 in less than 6 months. But when you're working less than 2 hours a day, for me, this was a really, really cool breakthrough. Now, my approach is different because I believe in saving time and money. So I am not a big fan of cold calling, cold emailing, or ads. I go straight into social media, and I'm going to show you how to do that as well. If you are really, really clawing your way to your first case study, I would recommend DMs first. Once you've maxed out your DMs for the day, I would then go into cold calling if you have a lot of time. If you're trying to be time conscientious, for me, I only had 2 hours a day. Cold calling wasn't on the table. I stayed with DMs. So that's why I recommend DMs first, then cold calling, and you'll see exactly why. The first thing we need to do is we need to unlearn bad cold outreach habits. I see this time and time again. So many entrepreneurs think that the way to handle cold DMs or even cold calling or even cold emailing is to make it all about them and their deliverables. So they usually use a lot of I statements, as you're going to see, and they focus on deliverables or even desired states. Their message approach boils down to basically following trends, cringy one-liners, or just making themselves available like some kind of a digital freelance booty call. All efforts scream, I have no idea how to market or sell my services, but I can do the job technically speaking. Because these individuals don't understand how to talk to leads, they have to rely on finding their next sales script until it too becomes outdated. So it's like marketing crackheads fiending for their next script fix. So don't be that person. This is what it looks like. If this is you, I'm going to help you understand how to fix it, but you do not want to do these things, and this is not what I'm going to be teaching you, right? When you do this, you open yourself up to having to lower your price in order to close a client. So here are some of the examples. These are within my own DMs. I went to my own DMs and screenshotted these. So somebody hits me up and they say, stop paying so much for your appointment setters. I will do this. I will do this. Here's the benefit of, you don't have to do this. It's a bot. I can show you. He's trying to show me that he's better by changing the deliverables. There's no real value detected. Next, like I said, don't be a freelancer booty call. Someone says, hey, since you're part of this group, if you ever need anything, let me know. I can do it for you. So if I ever need anything, it's again, a freelancer booty call. It's not going to be a meaningful relationship for that person. Of course, if I reach out, it's going to be to negotiate heavily or negotiate heavily on price. Again, they think they make it about me, but it's all about what they can do. Look how many I statements we have here. Dear Alexander, I. It's just talking at me. If you were to go to speak to a client in person, would you walk up to them and be like, hey, Alec, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. It's like, whoa, hey, nice to meet you. Like, what are you talking about? Why would I even need you, right? They're going straight into the pitch. Sometimes they'll use cringy lines, and these are like, they try to find trending ones because somebody got lucky once, and then, of course, more I statements. They're like, hey, how are you doing? Sorry, I barged into your DM without permission. My apology for that. You're not sorry. If you were sorry, get out of my DMs. You're not sorry. You're starting off the relationship understanding that you're in a position that I don't want you to be in. And then you're saying, I am glad I came across your profile. Of course you are. You saw money. You sniffed money a mile away, and now you want to take it from me, right? Here's one that somebody who was more advanced even tried on me, where they said, hey, it's great to be connected. I noticed we share a similar love for online business success. Do you have an offer in place? Are you accepting new clients? He thinks by saying that, I go, oh yeah, I need more clients. From my perspective, it seems like he's asking if I could take him as a client. So don't pose as a friend or a client because there's no faster way to piss someone off. And I may be overthinking this, but again, when you have little time and you want to get these results, I would rather go with the best method as opposed to these methods where you're just burning leads left and right. So what do we need to do? We need to understand the core pillar psychology of sales. No one wants to buy what they don't want. Nobody wants to buy what they don't want. People will refuse to buy what they need until what they need becomes what they want. Remember, people buy with emotion, which is a want, and they justify it with logic, which is a need. So I know it sounds like that could have been a little confusing. I'm going to break it down. You run your life and your business the exact same way. The reason that you don't work out the way you should, the reason that you don't eat the way you should, it's not because you don't need to. It's not because you don't know 10,000 steps a day is good. It's not because you don't know the gym is good. It's not because you don't know dark green vegetables and fruit are good for you. We know this. This should not be news to you, okay? The reason we don't eat and work out the way we should is because we don't want to. The business owners that you want to work with operate the exact same way because like me, like you, they're human beings. So the challenge becomes, how do we take what the client needs and turn it into what the client wants? The way we do this is by agitating pain points and education. That way, when what they need becomes what they want, you can provide them with your productized solution that bridges the gap. So again, if you know, let's use the example of diet and exercise because we could all be better, myself included. If you know working out is good, but you don't work out, and I explain the benefits and I show you the way we can do it and I make it easy for you, now you want to work out because you see the benefits. So now what you needed working out has become something you've also wanted. So now you take action, okay? People also don't buy from people they don't know or trust. If I'm up here wearing a shirt that says, I will scam you for your money, why would you want to work with me? You just think I'm going to scam you for your money. When you act certain ways online or when you're asking people to give you money that don't know you, you may as well take that off of your shirt and staple it to your forehead. So when we start this process, we need to prioritize relationship over revenue. Revenue is a fruit of professional relationships, but if you prioritize it too much, if it takes precedence, then it's not going to go the way you want. We've covered that multiple times throughout the previous trainings. I've said this multiple times throughout all of my content, relationship over revenue. It is the same as in a dating analogy. If you're thinking, well, I'm single and I can go hook up with whoever I want. Okay, bad news. The guy in a committed relationship, he is going to get more action than the guy who's just trying to go around and closing the first nights because he has a meaningful relationship where he's taking care of a significant other. And as a result of that, there's the intimacy becomes a fruit of that relationship, right? And again, I always use that analogy because most of the time, the women I work with always understand this point. It's a no-brainer. For the guys are usually the ones where it's like, well, you need this, so I offer it, right? Well, I'm man, you woman, we do. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to have a relationship for the things that you want to come from it. I'm not saying be manipulative. I'm saying a genuine relationship. So why do we use social media? Well, let me ask you, do you know why social media is the best for outreach? Hint, it's connected to what we just covered. Because people can click on your profile or your page and they can see all of your content that proves you know what you're doing and you're doing it well. What was the training before this? Make content before you do outreach. That's why. It's not to go viral. It's not to have engagement. It is so that you can prove you are who you say you are and you know what you're talking about. That is the main point of content when it comes to outreach. Now, we already covered the benefits before for outreach or for inbound leads, but this is specifically for outreach. When you text, when you cold call, when you email, when you go door to door with solicitation, even paid ads, they provide no way for people to see if you're the real deal because there's no way for them to check out your profile. If you're thinking ads are one of the things, you're actually wrong. Because what happens is if you run ads from an account with no engagement, with no following, people are going to tear you apart as a scam. Don't believe me? Try it out or go on your feed and find people who are doing it. Let me know how that goes. With social media, even if they reject you, you can get them to follow you, even if they deny your offer. And now, because they're following you, your content is retargeting them with posts, with stories, with videos for 100% free. We covered that in the previous training. Again, I say that right here. If you recall from the previous training, social media allows you to create inbound content. That's content that brings people in. It nurtures followers using multiple mediums, right? Short form, long form, posts, text, stories, whatever. Remember what I said earlier? Relationship over revenue. That's why the training before this is so important, and it's probably the number one skipped step. For the record, I have students and clients who get more clients off of step 6 than they do step 7. And yet people love step 7 because they think in their mind, this is the way I can go out and get clients. You're wrong. And again, I've linked that right here, but it's in the folder right here where you can gain access to it if you check the pin post. Now, let's look at, and very quickly, no platform lets you do this. So if you're retargeting with SMS, it's not free. Retargeting with email, not free. Retargeting with ads, not free. Retargeting with, calling them again, that's very time consuming. I can post one time and I can hit everybody at the same time, right? So let's look at how we can use social media for group engagement. Now, this is obviously Facebook specific, but if you work with local service-based businesses, which I heavily recommend, that's exclusively who I want to bring into my community, then group engagement is the move. Because when you're starting out, the hardest part is truly to grow your audience. So when you join groups, you can engage in a way that generates leads, but you want to do it in the right way. Otherwise, you're going to mess it up and you're going to burn these groups, right? So you don't want to join the group and be like, hey, look at me. It's the equivalent of going straight to somebody at the bar and saying, hey, I just want to take you home, right? Might work with some low quality leads, but probably not going to work. Don't be that person. So you want to join these types of groups. You want to join local groups. So these will be groups that are local to you. So like if you're in Tallahassee, look up Facebook groups that are local to Tallahassee. If you're in Roanoke, look up groups that are local to Roanoke. If you're in Hollywood, look up groups that are local to Hollywood. If you're in New York, look up groups that are local to New York where people are engaging in that community and they're recommending businesses, okay? So you can then find businesses to engage with. Look up niche groups. This is a group for pressure washers. This is a group for dentists. This is a group for lawyers, right? Whatever your niche is, look up groups, right? And then you make sure that you're not joining groups that marketers run. So you'll see a group where it's like some guy and he's like, and it's like, hey, I'm really good at this. If you join somebody's group that they've made to attract leads, then they're just going to remove you, okay? Next, you want to do group engagement. So the first thing you need to do is you need to scout out the group. Scroll through the group to see previous engagement so you know what to do and what not to do. If there's a guy who's like, hey, I'm offering free websites and he has great conversions, okay, maybe you could try your own variation. But if someone's like, hey, I'm doing free ads for somebody and everyone's like, loser, get out of here. We hate you. Don't do it, right? Again, I'm very big on letting your market tell you what they like and don't like. Next, you want to look for ways to answer questions or provide value without pushing your offer. If you answer with value, they will ask for help. They will follow up. And sometimes what I've seen is I'll answer somebody's question and then a random person will DM me and they'll be like, oh, I saw you commented on this post. I had questions. Bam, inbound sales script, which I'll cover here. And again, don't pick fruit, plant seeds. What do I mean? If you come in here just trying to pick fruit, just trying to get clients, just trying to get money, yes, that's the ultimate goal. But again, relationships over revenues. You want to plant seeds with value. They will sprout and give you more fruit than if you try to go in and just pick fruit, pick clients, okay? So let's look at 16 ways to outbound pitch or DM. Again, I'm not a big fan of cold calling for beginners, but you can also use some of these in your cold call openers. Number 1, I'm looking for an asset they don't have. Can you send it over? This is very agitating. This is one of the first scripts I used. And let me, well, I'll mention that in a second, but this is one of the first scripts I used to close a lawn care client really quickly. I basically said, hey, I'm looking for lawn care guys that don't have websites. Found one, DM'd him. Hey, I'm looking for your website. Can you send it over? He had to say, I don't have one. That's agitating because he's like, ugh, it's a knife in the heart when they ask for something you don't have. So then I said, hey, I don't want to be that guy, but I could build it for you. Free for 30 days, no setup fee, right? Everything I covered in the training, how to get your first 25 clients as fast as possible. And that worked really well. Now, here's the thing I dislike about this one. Because I just told you how I did it, everybody and their mother loves to use number 1. And they're targeting these like low ticket, low hanging fruit. That's perfectly fine. But if you're just using this one and you're losing sight of what the intention is, right? If you're missing the end goal and you're focusing too much on the delivery mechanism, it's not going to go well. So don't just take these and run with them. You need to understand what we're trying to do. We're trying to agitate the fact they need something and then provide that solution. Here's another one. I noticed your insert what they're missing or doing wrong. Here's what you can do to fix it. And this will make you money. Hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions. So for example, I know a guy who he looks for ads that are not optimized. He goes, hey, I noticed you're running ads, but you're not localized to your area because I'm over here and I got your ad and you don't service this area. Here's how you can fix it. If you localize your ads by following this advice, you're going to save money, which means you'll keep more of your money. Hope that helps. Let me know if you want me to do it for you or if you have any questions. That's all he would do, right? And it worked really well. I noticed you don't have asset. This might sound weird, but I already built it out for you. Hey, I noticed you don't have a website. This might sound weird, but I already built it out for you. You can have it for free for 30 days. And if you like it, keep it. If not, don't pay a cent. You can fire me. Do you want to meet via Zoom and I can show you? Bam, that's a really good one. Number 4, I saw you've been open for 20 years, but you only have 7 reviews. Have you only worked with 7 clients total? The answer is no. It's gonna be agitating. But they're gonna say, no, man, like nobody leaves reviews. Like, of course not. And you're like, oh, I could fix that for you. This one's a little bit more direct for your blue collar tradies, right? I saw you've been open for 7 years or 20 years, but you only have 7 reviews. Don't tell me you're only relying on referrals and word of mouth. Well, yeah, it's making me money. Is it able to make you money at will? Are you able to scale it up or scale it down? 6, what are you doing to generate leads? Get right to it. 7, are you trying to increase how many leads you're getting? Are you trying to increase profitability? Are you trying to increase conversions? Are you trying to increase how many reviews you get? 8, I saw you didn't have an asset and I built it for you. Want me to send it over? It's a variation of this. So it's saying, hey, I noticed you don't have a chat bot. I noticed you don't have a chat widget. I built it out. Want me to send it over? I can help you achieve result without mainstream way people might be sick of. I can help you get clients without paying a cent on ads. I see you're doing effort to attract or convert clients. Are you doing insert value to improve performance? I see you are trying to get more clients. Are you also automating your review generation or retargeting previous clients using a database reactivation? I see you have value. I can add more value. Bad news, you don't have a website in place. You don't have a chat bot in place. You don't have review automation in place. You don't have your Google business profile optimization. Here's what you can do to fix it. Bam, no call to action. You can also reply to someone's social media story to initiate a conversation, then go into these. You can send a digital marketing audit via Loom, which I'll cover in just a second. You can send a Loom video of your snapshot that you make. Look at bullet point 3 and I think 6 as well. No, not 6, I'm sorry. So 3, you don't have this asset, and 8. Let me send it over. 15, you can send a selfie style video in place of a written message. So same thing, but it's a selfie style video. You can send a voice message. I'm not too big of a fan of this, so I put it at the very end. Selfie style I think does better, but it doesn't matter. Let's see. Remember this training right here. This is the training if you want to scale as fast as possible. So you pop this open. Another free training, 100% free. Shows you how to get your first 25 clients as fast as humanly possible using these techniques. So you want to put these techniques in place that you see in this training, and then you can go into it, right? Again, it's 100% free. I really don't know why I'm giving away so much free. I mean, I do, but I don't know why I'm giving as much as I am, right? So my intention with this is I want to get as many eyeballs as I can on this business. The more eyeballs I get, the more likely people are to work with me. So for you, yes, you watching, not the people around you, you watching, my idea is if I put out this much value, it's going to get views. It can reach more people. The people it reaches, like you might think, oh, this really helps me out. You go do it. Maybe it helps a bottle point or a pain point in your business. Maybe it helps a bottleneck, not a bottle point, a bottleneck in your business, and it helps you out. And then you go, what would it be like working with Alec in a one-on-one setting? What would it be like working with Alec in his group coaching environment? What would it be like if I learned from him directly, right? That's what I want to have happen. And let's say you're like, hey, I never want to work with Alec because I hate his voice and I hate his face. Cool, perfectly fine. YouTube will pay me. You don't ever have to pay me, right? I get my watch hours. You get your value. YouTube pays me. All you have to do is wait for an ad to be over to click skip ad. There you go. And if you're upset about having to skip ad, let me know. And I'll send you a list of therapists that can help with that. So let's go into lead reply options, and you'll see this actually starts off with the digital marketing audit via Loom. So when you do these different outreaches, you're going to see that the lead then has to reply. So let's say the lead doesn't reply. What do? I'm not a fan of double texting when you get ghosted because it comes across as desperate, which indirectly tells the lead that you probably don't have many clients, which probably tells me you suck at what you do, right? So if you really need a sale, it probably means you don't have money. If you don't have money, it means you suck at what you do, right? So I'm not going to say, hey, are you there? Hey, where you at? Hey, do you still want to hop on a call? None of that. Now, that being said, we also don't want to let the leads walk away that easily. So we need an excuse to add more value without friend-zoning ourselves or burning the lead. That's why if a lead ghosts you after you do your agitating point up above, you can follow up with a 3 to 5 minute audit using Loom or some kind of screen recorder, right? So here's how you structure your personalized digital audit. And you can kickstart with this, or I like to wait and have this as a follow-up if they don't reply. So if they open, no red, right? If they didn't open at all, don't waste your time. So the first thing you do is you want to review the positive aspect of their website, social media, directory listings, reviews, basically any and everything online that represents their digital presence, and just acknowledge the ones that you want to work with, right? When you look at what's good, just acknowledge it. Don't go in depth. Don't be like, oh, this is really good because XYZ. Just go like this. Ready? Okay, website looks good. Okay, you have your name, address, phone number matches. Perfect. Reviews, decent. So you just want to touch on them, move past it because the focus needs to be the negative. After you hit the positive, then you say, okay, but here are the things that we need to do better. So you want to review the negative aspects and then you want to elaborate. So this is where you go in depth. Okay, you don't have a way to generate reviews. This is bad because you either have to do it manually, which means you're probably going to lose track of it. And you're going to have to do more work. This is going to save you time if you were to automate it. When you have low reviews, you don't increase your ranking, right? Yada, yada, yada. Example, poor SEO means you have poor visibility, which means you have to pay more money to acquire clients, and there's more time in between clients because you're having to resort to paid methods to generate clients. So you would outline all the negatives and all the negative impacts. Then you end your loom with this. You go, and this is exactly how I say it. You go, send this over to your marketing team and watch the difference it makes. Honestly, they should have been doing this stuff to begin with, but no worries, better late than never. Pause. Or if you'd like, my entire team and I can knock this out for you in time frame for less than the cost of a minimum wage employee or for whatever price. Either way, best of luck. I really just want to make sure you get this because I like what you guys are doing. So why does this work? Well, number one, you imply that they have a marketing team. Most don't. So if they have a marketing team, it's like, dude, what are you guys doing? Maybe I need to replace them. If you don't have a marketing team, it's like, do I need a marketing team? In the loom, you're going to compliment what looks good, but then you want to address the shortcomings and the negative impact they have on the business. So again, touch the positives because you're not just saying, hey, give me your money. You're saying, oh, these are good. So you're being honest. And then you're saying what's bad and the impact. And then throughout your 3 to 5 minute video, you only have a 30-second pitch. And even in your own pitch, you interrupt yourself. This is where you're interrupting yourself, right? We can do this, but either way, best of luck, right? You're interrupting your own pitch. So this is what I use for the people that ghost me, right? Next, let's say you get a negative reaction. This would be any negative reply or rejection from the lead. Depending on the message, reply intelligently. Sometimes that means not replying at all, okay? So if they reply negatively and they're like, hey, like, I'm not interested, you just say, okay, no worries, just saw you're missing this and I thought we could easily fix it to help you get more money, to increase your profitability, to decrease your costs, right? If they're really nasty or you're sensitive, so like you don't know how to take an insult and keep moving, don't reply. If they're like, wow, don't text me, I hate you, you're a scammer, F you, blah, 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 don't reply. Move on. That they're waving their own red flag. If you don't see that flag being waved and you want to try to continue to pursue it or waste your time when you could just be moving on to the next client, don't reply. Don't waste your time. And then the last one you can do is you can have an ultimate downsell. So you can push them to your social media. I'll cover that in a few moments. Next, let's say they question you. So they're very confused because notice I didn't say, hey, my name's Alec and this is what I do. And by the way, problem agitation. I went straight into the agitating part, right? So then they're going to be like, well, who are you, right? They don't know who you are or why you reached out. So you want to then go into explaining who you are and what you do and direct your profile, which verifies. Again, that's why we love social media. So you'd say, hey, my name's Alec. I help go high level SWAS agencies hit 6K per month in less than 6 months. If you want, you can check out my profile to see more. You can check out my profile to check me out. You can check out my profile to make sure I'm not a scammer. Then explain why you reached out. The reason I reached out is because I noticed you're missing this, which is having this negative impact, right? And then you'll move into a modified close as the conversation goes, which I'll cover at the bottom. Let's say they hit you with a bluff or a TLDR, right? The lead wants the bottom line up front. Usually they do this to find out pricing and they leave if you're not cheaper than happy hour mojitos. So what you want to do is you want to overwhelm them with value and underwhelm in price. And I have a screenshot in Say So University, but you guys aren't getting that here. So you want to give a price range and explain that you need to look under the hood to learn more and give a fair price within their budget. So you can say something like, hey, the price can range anywhere from $97 to $34.97, which is typically why I like to ask questions to ensure that I'm not only achieving certain results for you, but also meeting you in your budget, meeting your budget. It would be like if you pull up to a mechanic and he gave you a price before looking under the hood. You'd be pretty suspicious of that, right? Right. So let's say the client responds positively. Then you basically need to bridge your offer or their question to the modified close. And you do it by giving value around the problem. Then you move into one of the points below. So A, move into modified close, which we're about to cover. B, push to the call directly where you can say, hey, if you'd like, we can hop on a call and look over more details to see if it's something that would help you. If not, no worries, no pressure. Sound fair? Or how does that sound? Or you can basically offer to send them the snapshot preview. So that's high level specific. If you're not using high level, you can't really do that, right? What is a modified close? So let's say, oh, and by the way, there's a few, let's say they do the bluff and they don't like what you have to say. Let's say it moves into this. Let's say it moves into that. Let's say they ghost you, right? So you're not using one or the other. It's a combination. So they might be like, what's the price? You tell them, then they ghost you. Go to ghost, follow that process. So modified close. This is the modified close. So when they start DMing you, after you give them a little bit of value, you want to understand where they currently are to make sure that the value you give is going to be applicable, right? It's going to make sense. Otherwise, you're just talking to the wind. So you want to say something like, catch me up on what's going on. Tell me about the business, what's going well, what's not going well, what you like, what you dislike, everything, right? The goal with this question is to understand their current situation, but it's also to get them talking almost as if you're performing business therapy. You want them to open up, right? This is going to pull the emotional situation out of the lead, which is necessary to make the close. All in all, you just need to understand a few items. What are the current business metrics, quantitative information, direct impacts of metrics? How does this impact the benefit, or how does this impact the business? An indirect impact of metrics. How do these low metrics and these negative impacts impact the lead themselves, the prospect themselves, right? And if the lead is slow to open up, so sometimes you'll ask this question and they'll just tell you everything. Sometimes you got to ask one by one. How are you currently doing? Revenue, profitability, yada, 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 total clients, whatever. How are those numbers? Like, why are you not happy with those numbers? How do those numbers impact you? Indirect. Okay. How do those numbers impact you inside and outside of work, right? Something like that. And we're going to cover that in the next training, by the way, where I have a full sales script for you. Desired state. Next, you need to understand where they want to go and why. And so you'd say something like, and where are you trying to take your business realistically in the next 6 to 12 months? What would that do for the business? What would that do for you outside of the business? Again, the goal is to collect the same information as above, but in a future state. The idea is that they're going to tell you why or what they want and why they want it. And then you can downplay the number and focus on the results. So you can be like, where are you? 2K a month. Where you want to be? 10K a month. Why? Well, I want to really have a lot of time to be with my family. Okay, cool. So now when I go into my sales pitch, I can focus on that end result as opposed to making money for a Lambo. If I start talking about making money for a Lambo and he doesn't want a Lambo, he wants to spend time with his family, well, I'm missing the mark, right? Assign responsibility. Now that you've identified the current state and the desired state, you need to fill the gap in between the two. And we covered this in the step 4 training, right? Now you want to subconsciously remind the client that they need help because they can't do it themselves. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. My first client ever, lawn care. He could mow all day long, landscape, hardscape, really talented guy. Couldn't do websites. I can do websites. I don't even know how to turn a lawnmower on. So it's okay. You don't need to know how to do everything. That's why we work together. So I do it with this question. What have you tried in the past to bridge that gap? What have you tried in the past to achieve those results? And then you just be quiet, let them speak. The idea is that you want to ask what they did in the past to do 2 things. Number 1, you want to not recommend to do exactly what they did that they hated, or you want to explain how they did it differently. So if they're like, well, I did SEO and it didn't work, you want to ask questions about that. So that way you don't just say, oh, we're going to do SEO. And they go, oh, we hate SEO, bye. So you want to understand why they did it. And then you can say, oh, here's how we do it differently when you get to the providing value. You also want to subconsciously remind them that they can't do it themselves. If I can't mow my own lawn, then I don't need to be behind the wheel of a lawnmower, right? So you want to remind them, and that's okay, but that's going to help you with the pitch, because if you go into the pitch and they go, oh, I could do it myself, hang on, we've assigned responsibility, so we know you can't, right? Then you want to provide value. So now that you know where they are, where they want to be, and what didn't work for them, you can provide them with 2 to 5 minutes of just straight game, straight value, straight heat, straight fire. And we're doing this to leverage the law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity says that the human tendency to feel obligated to do something in return when someone does something for you first. In other words, it is human nature to feel obligated to reciprocate when someone does something for you. Something like hopping on a call. So you want to give so much value, then when you give your ask, they feel obligated in some way, shape, or form to hop on the call. Now, this is not to manipulate them. This also shows that you know what you're talking about. This shows that you can provide value. And in doing such, they might want to hop on a call to learn more. So you could say something like, oh, if you'd like, we can talk more on a call, right? So we want to push to a meeting. This is where you're going to follow the closing script that we covered in the next training, right? After this, you need to ascertain whether you can help them or not. If you can't help them, don't help them. If they're like, we sell products and you sell service and you work with service providers, don't help them, right? You have to be very honest with yourself, because let's say you oversell and you actually can't deliver, or you haven't worked with a client in that space, or maybe that's not the client that you want to focus on. If you sell them, here's what's going to happen. You collect the money, you can't deliver, you burn the lead, they leave a bad reputation somewhere, like a bad review somewhere, right? So it tanks your reputation. So don't sell if you can't sell. But let's say you can, right? Then you want to push to a meeting ASAP, ideally within 24 to 48 hours max, to get them on the phone while they're warm. That's ideal, right? Get them on the call as soon as possible, or at least get them scheduled for a call within 24 to 48 hours. Now, if the lead is really ready to buy, then you can offer to send a direct sign-up link and then mention an onboarding call after they sign up. That's already what the client was mentioning before. This all depends on your offer, but it does work when the lead is really, really ready to join. It's just not going to happen every time, probably not even 10% of the time. Considerations. The lead may provide this information out of order. So while the order is important, don't ruin the flow of a conversation just to follow the order. Don't be like, well, Alex said I have to ask this, then this, then this. You can reiterate when you get to those points. We cover that in the next training. If the client demands pricing, give a range but never direct options. We covered that above, right? You need to know what's going on to assess a solution. Remember the mechanic example I gave above. This is the biggest one. If the client gives a red flag, move on. If they ignore you, if they ghost you, and you follow this process and it doesn't work, move on. If you push it, all you're going to do is scare them away and they'll never come back to you. Move on. They wave a red flag, move on. Don't stay there, because it's going to be a miserable situation. Now, what was the ultimate downside I mentioned before where we push them to social? Listen to me very carefully. This is single-handedly the most important piece of content that I think I've ever shared and will ever share in a single sentence. If the lead rejects you, ignores you, says or does anything that says, I do not want to work with you at this time for whatever reason, then you are going to do the following. You're going to tell them to follow you on social media, and then you can make content on any topic that they are stuck on or would like help on in their business. This sounds very simple and obvious, but let's cover why doing this will generate you so many leads over time. This is what made me $21,104.10 in my 6th month. The content you make will retarget the lead and further position you as an expert in their eyes. Number 2, if the lead gives you a problem but they don't follow, then the current audience will see that content and it will retarget those followers within the niche because, again, niche problems are niche problems. This is why we need to niche down. Number 3, if the lead follows you but they don't consume content, then again, you're gaining more niche followers, which is going to give you more social proof, and that basically leads to the black hole effect or the snowball effect, right? More followers leads to leads being more likely to follow, which leads to more followers, which leads to leads being more likely to follow, right? And at the very least, you already got rejected once. What's one more rejection, right? Now, if you want the free training on how to turn social media or how to use social media to convert after you downsell them to your social media, go here. And this is actually an updated one right here. And we're going to link that right there. It's the training we just covered. Step 6, optimize your social media. That's why we covered it beforehand, right? Now let's look at the most important takeaway from this training. These scripts should only act as a starting point. If you take the script and you get so hung up on the exact words I'm saying, if you get so hung up on the delivery mechanism, you'll lose sight of the intention. The focus should never stay on the script itself, but rather the psychology behind it, which is simple, but not necessarily easy for most of you who just take things and regurgitate them. I can't tell you how many people are going to watch this video and they're going to be like, well, I followed the script to a T. Are you understanding the intention of what I'm trying to teach you? If not, good luck to you, seriously. So we want to remember your vowels, A, E, I, O, and U. Here's why. Yes, I know it's corny. Will put me down later. Number 1, A, agitate the problem. Number 2, U, understand their situation. Number 3, E, educate on how to resolve the problem. Number 4, O, offer to bridge the gap between where they are versus where they need to be. Number 5, I, invite to a call where you can discuss how downsell to push to social media. This formula should guide everything. The script merely provides a tangible, actionable route. Now, me personally, I don't do outreach. I don't. You can use outreach as long as you would like, but I prefer shifting over to content, leveraging the client results. Remember, this only works if you use the ultimate downsell, if you push them to the ultimate downsell. If you want to learn how to create content that converts your followers, then you want to check out these trainings. So this one, let's update this because I've made a new version that you guys are going to see in step 9. All of this stuff is updated for you. Long form is not going to change. That's a really in-depth training where I show you exactly how to build lead magnets and then record them into video lead magnets. And then we've got step 6. This is going to be where we optimize social media. We've covered that one in the previous training. And then 11, we haven't covered that in this series, but it's on YouTube as well. Action items. Here's what I need you to do. Post content before engaging. Otherwise, your push to social, ultimate downsell, will never work and your conversions will be too low. Don't do it. Trust me. I tell people this, they do it, and then they go, my conversions are too low. You're not following the process. Step 2, search and join groups. Start engaging the way I tell you to engage. Don't spam your offer. Step 3, find prospects on social media and reach out to them via DM. If you're a cold caller, try these scripts via cold calling. It's going to be a little bit harder because you can't really do an ultimate downsell. But if you're so stubborn, try it on cold calling. DMs is just really the way to go. If you want to do both, content, DM your max limit, which you can YouTube or you can Google very quickly, and then go into your cold calling. If you have low time, drop cold calling. Number 4, post content and do outreach daily. Make time. If you are a single parent with 2 jobs, okay, I understand. You've got a lot on your plate. Deal with that. I'm not talking to you. If you're not a single parent with 2 jobs, if you're not a caretaker of another human being 24/7, I don't care about any excuse you have. You either want to make this happen or you're going to find every excuse in the book not to make it happen so you can pretend you wanted to do it, right? I was in the army. I can't tell you how many people were like, oh, I almost joined. Congratulations. Almost joining and joining are 2 very different things. Okay? Almost starting a business and starting a business are 2 different things. Almost doing outreach and doing outreach are 2 different things. Make it happen. There's no excuse. If you want this training along with the entire free course, check the pin post on Facebook at Alec J. Roy. Now, if you run your own agency, I've covered this 1,000 times. I'm going to cover it 1,000 times more. I can show you how to do all this stuff significantly faster with me than on your own. Now, I was really stubborn, so I did it on my own. I didn't listen to anybody. It took me 3 years to do what I do with my students in a matter of 3 months. But I was stubborn. I had to learn the hard way. You don't have to be that person. If you want to, go ahead. I did it, so I don't blame you, but you don't have to be that person. You can learn all of this. You can work with me one-on-one, free 45 to 60-minute session, and then you get dropped in a group environment where we have a whole bunch of assets and value I'm about to share with you. It is 100% free if you're using my high-level affiliate link. You can join at the 97 plan, cheapest plan. You can upgrade to the 297 plan. You can upgrade to the 497 plan. You don't pay me a penny. High level pays me. If you don't use high level or you maxed out, you can cover a $97 a month rate. Quit whenever you want. Now, what do you get when you join? Like I said, free session, just you, just me, 45 to 60 minutes. Then you go into the group coaching. This process I'm covering now, it's a streamlined version. You get the full version, even more context, even more assets. We review your website and funnel for you to optimize it. You get free trainings released immediately. As soon as I drop it, you get access. No dripping, no waiting, none of that. We have 90-minute group coaching calls, which usually spill into 2 to 3 hours. We have a say-so process, which you're going to see in the step 10 training, where you learn my say-so process, simplify, automate, scale, optimize, how it can streamline your business and your client's business. We have local SEO courses dropping monthly. We have a full SOP on how to automate your business. We have agency snapshots, and we're releasing industry-specific snapshots. We just put 20 in the pipeline. We're releasing 1 a month. Best part, it's free. It is free. You don't have to pay me a penny. And let's say you love the content, or maybe you don't even like the content. You don't want to pay me, perfectly fine. I'm getting my watch hours. I'm getting my views. I'm getting my brand exposure. You don't have to pay me, no pressure. If you use this stuff and it helps you get clients, if you use this stuff and it's helping you in your business and you never pay me a penny, I will be still very, very happy. Please share your success with me. I love this stuff. When people DM me, go check out my Instagram. I have the client testimonials or student testimonials. Some of those people are people that never pay me a penny. This stuff means the world to me when people say, hey, this stuff helped forever change my life. I can't tell you how humbling that is. So if you want to work with me, I will link stuff below. If not, perfectly fine. I'll see you in the next training. Have a good one.